Hello and welcome to your daily mobile game sizzle with me, Jon Jordan. Today we're going to take a deep dive into NetEase, the Chinese PC and mobile game company that had an absolutely stellar 2016. We're going to look at some of the graphs, at some of the big trends that resulted in NetEase doing so well in 2016, and have a quick look about how things are shaping up for 2017. So let's have a look at NetEase's 2016 financial performance. So we can see on the graph there, that's individual quarters. And NetEase actually, although it's seen as a game stock, is actually has three different kind of business components. So games is the biggest part. Games is the red column. We can see particularly in the fourth quarter, games exploded. A very big increase in games revenue. So well over $1 billion in the Q4 period. The main reason behind this is NetEase's mobile games did very, very well. So it's for the last couple of years had two games in the Chinese top 10 top grossing. In 2016, it released two more games that got into the top 10 top grossing as well. So it had ended the year with four games in the top grossing charts in China. So that was very good for growth. But it wasn't just mobile games, its PC games division, which also includes Blizzard games that operates in China, that did very well. So Overwatch has been a massive PC game that sold 5 million copies in China, which is the fastest selling PC game ever in China. But equally, let's not forget that NetEase has these other non-gaming components, and in fact has this email, e-commerce, internet business that did well over $1 billion of revenue as well. That was actually up 117% year on year. Much smaller is the advertising component, but that still rose 20% year on year and is actually over $300 million of revenue. So basically all the three parts of NetEase's business had a fantastic 2016, which obviously resulted in the whole company doing incredibly well. In this graph, we're breaking down NetEase's games business. So as you said, it has PC and mobile. So mobile is the slightly darker orange color. And as we can see in 2016, for every quarter, NetEase generated over $500 million of revenue from its mobile games, which is incredible. And actually, you can see in the fourth quarter, it actually generated $826 million just from that one quarter. Again, that's from these four games in China. And overall, the year, NetEase generated $2.6 billion from its mobile games, which is much bigger than King. So King was the big kind of Western mobile game stock that was bought by Activision Blizzard. NetEase, just for a scale, I mean, kind of totally different games from King, but NetEase is considerably bigger than King is. So the main structural reason that NetEase has grown so quickly is that the Chinese mobile games market has grown incredibly quickly over the last 5 years or so. So in 2013 and 14, we were seeing growth rates, kind of triple-digit growth rates. And even last year, in which the Chinese mobile games market was estimated to be about $10 billion, which makes it the biggest single mobile game market in the world. Growth rates were still at kind of 50%. Obviously, no market can continue growing at that rate, so we'll see. I mean, it's all estimates clearly. It's estimated that 2017 the market will grow maybe 25%, and then in the coming years after that, growth rates will go under 10%, so single-digit growth. But you're still seeing by the end, heading towards the $15 billion, kind of $14 billion, I think they're saying in 2019 there. So there's a big market there, and the interesting thing about the Chinese mobile games market is effectively there's a duopoly going on there. So two companies basically run that market. Tencent is the biggest; it has the biggest share of that. So Tencent doesn't really make a lot of mobile games itself. It makes some, but it basically has a great distribution muscle. So it has the QQ and the WeChat social mobile messaging systems. So it has great ability to push its games out in that market. NetEase is a bit different. So it just makes its own games, really. Quite simple from that point of view. And it really found success when it made the mobile versions of two of its very big PC games. And actually, one of the two new games it released in 2016 was also a mobile version of a PC game. So it has kind of an existing audience. And as the mobile market has taken off in China, so those players of those PC games have been playing mobile versions of them. But NetEase doesn't really have distribution muscle in the same way that Tencent does. And in terms of overall scale, between them, those two companies have about 60% of the market, and NetEase has about 25% of that. So the big challenge for NetEase in the coming years is, while growth in China, it will still be good, and it will still have a considerable chunk of the Chinese market. At the moment, most or pretty much all its sales come from China. As growth drops off in China, where will the next kind of billions of dollars of revenue come for NetEase? And that's why it's looking to take its games internationally. So as previously mentioned, 3 of NetEase's big Chinese hit games come from PC. It's PC titles. 2 of those are from the Westward Journey series. And the other one, depending on who you talk to, is either called New Ghost or Ghost Story. That's a PC game. But the really exciting thing that happened for NetEase in 2016 was it had its first kind of what we call mobile first hit. So it was a hit game that wasn't previously a PC game. So I'll probably horribly garble this, but Onmyogi, which is that was a #1 Chinese top grossing game in the end of 2016, and that's the game that NetEase is looking to take internationally. So it's currently doing well in what we might call culturally Chinese markets like Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. But the first big kind of challenge is Japan. So historically, Chinese games haven't done very well in Japan. Obviously, there's some historic reasons for why content between those 2 countries doesn't always appeal very well. But actually, Onmyogi is a Japanese concept, so it's a kind of an esoteric, occult kind of practice that happened in Japanese history. That's what the word actually means. So the game is based around a the game is based around a Japanese kind of cultural meme. As we can see, it's so we have a graph here of the game's performance in China in terms of the top grossing Apple Store, the App Store. So it's going up. It's not currently in the top 10. That's the pink area, which you need to be in to generate the big bucks. But it's heading towards it. So it's in the top 20, about 15 at the moment. So it's pretty good. There's not many Chinese games have made that jump into Japan. Still a long way to go, clearly. But it looks like NetEase certainly has made a beachhead into the Japanese market. And the other thing to note is the Japanese market is incredibly lucrative, so much smaller population, but it's worth about $6-7 billion of revenue annually. So not as big as China, which is 10, but still pretty impressive. And the games that get to #1, #2, and sit there for a year can generate $1 billion in a year. So it's very lucrative. And if NetEase can get Onmyogi a bit higher up, that would be pretty impressive for its financials. Obviously, the next challenge after that is take it to the West. That's an even bigger challenge. I think that will probably be a step too far. NetEase hasn't had any successful games in the West at all. So obviously we have to wait and see. The game has to be localized. And it is a very nice looking game. It's an RPG as you'd expect, but very colourful, very artistically interesting. So there will certainly be appeal there. But we have to wait and see till later in 2017 how that pans out. So 2 final graphs to look at, and these are looking at NetEase as a financial company. So as we stated, it's on the NASDAQ stock exchange, the big technology stock exchange in the States. There are some other games companies there, clearly. Activision Blizzard, EA, and Take-Two are the 3 big ones. And there's maybe the comparison isn't great because NetEase isn't 100% games in the way that those companies are, but they're the broadest comparison that we've got. So if we look at the share price performance over the last year, we can see all of them have done very well. So EA's up 38%, Take-Two and Activision both up over 50%. But NetEase blows them all out of the water, really. It's up 117% year on year, so that's incredible. The share price has doubled over that period of time. Obviously, the reason for that is it's had an incredibly good 2016. So it's that share price performance has been driven by a great fundamental revenue performance and profit performance. The other thing to look at is the table below. So that's kind of a comparison of different kind of financial metrics. Don't need to go into too much detail, but one thing to point out, because of its share price doubling, NetEase now has the biggest market cap. So effectively the value of the company on the basis of its shares. So it's now $40 billion. That's what the company's shares are worth, and that's 37. It's more than Activision Blizzard, which is $37 billion. Let me just see the scale of NetEase is from its performance 2016 is incredible. Obviously, share prices can go up and down, so this is not to say it's going to continue going up. The other interesting things to point out, I guess, are NetEase is one of the few games companies to provide a dividend. So dividend is money paid to shareholders. Activision Blizzard now does this as well, but NetEase actually pays out more. So on a dividend yield basis, it's paying out double. It's a bit more complicated with NetEase, I suppose, than Activision Blizzard because it is a Chinese company based in China. So there's different. It's slightly different in terms of how you buy its shares and slightly different liquidity. So it's not necessarily a great thing for people. A share, not particularly great for people to buy that share necessarily. I'm not giving you share advice here, but just pointing out some of the financials and some of the comparisons. So anyway, thanks for watching. So your daily mobile game sizzle is all about the business of mobile games, and we like to take sometimes these deep dives into companies, particularly looking at their financial performance. So don't forget to subscribe, and hope to see you again soon.